Hello, people on the internet. Today, I've kind of run out of ideas, but hey, I do have one idea, which is to basically build the Intel Celeron of cars. So I've set the year for 2004, and this should be a fun time we'll have here, because although it sounds so incredibly ridiculous, there's a lot of similarities there can be between a terrible car and a terrible CPU. Should we use a pickup? Yes, this one. There's a lot of similarities between the two. For example, we can have a terribly put together thing which fails on benchmarks, overheats, and just doesn't work very well. Although saying fail on benchmarks, they did have bribery charges later on because they were trying to make the chips look better than AMD's, which they clearly weren't. And how will I do that with a car? Well, I'm going to basically make it overpowered, and I'm going to give it no control whatsoever. But hey, it's around my own test track, so I can engineer it to look much quicker than it actually is. And it'll have the power even though it doesn't know how to use it. Now I'll go with corrosion resistant steel, even though technically there would be some aluminium cars here. Was the Audi A1. We're not about making the best car in the class. We can just lie about how heavy it is and make it seem a lot lighter than it is after all. It's also a Celeron, so we can't have anything fancy on it at all. The Pentium 4s did have hyper threading. I mean, that's probably one thing they did have that was legitimate and not fake. Yes, I've got a unitary truck. It's so unusual. We'll have a... Should we have a front-wheel drive unitary truck? No, you know what? I'm going to just do something completely nonsensical and seemingly pointless. I'm going to make a rear-wheel drive unitary pickup truck. It's like, sure, if it's front-wheel drive, it might kind of make sense making it a unitary, but rear-wheel drive? No, definitely not. We'll have McPherson struts on the front and solid axle coil on the rear. Or would it be that stupid? Nah. We get old leaf springs. It is the Celeron mobile after all. What else do we have? We can make it an SUV. By this stage, though, having said what I've said, I think it's more amusing to have it as a... Yeah, I think someone's actually been throwing Pentium 4s at this and deformed the vehicle pretty badly. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's supposed to be a ladder, and because of that, it's kind of messed it up. There we go, that sorted it out. I think it wasn't quite used to what I was doing with it. If I bring that up, try and make it look somewhat better, although it's always going to be a bit of an ugly, stubby thing. Let's be entirely honest here. Something Intel was not back in the day. I'm sure they're not that bad now, but back in 2004, yeah, they had all the dodgy practices going, paying Mr. Dell to do some business practices. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to pay our dealerships to go bragging about how brilliant this car is when really it's terrible, and they are not a bumper. When will I realise there is a difference between a bumper and a set of mirrors? Speaking of which, we do need a set of mirrors. Let's just throw some on here. We don't care about it at all. Rotate this. To be fair, the Pentium 4s aren't outright dreadful CPUs. They do have their benefits, but they were just nowhere near as good as the AMD chips of the time. And that's something I must stand by, I guess, because I've said it now. Those mirrors are in a very odd location. I can't really move them there. That's about as good as I can get them. We need a grill of sorts. What can we do with this? Not much. I have a fair few grills, some of which are mods from the Steam Workshop. Now, I'm thinking we could go with this. Yes. Make it a little animal. No, it has to be terrible but somewhat appealing on the surface of things. So I'm thinking I'll go with a standard looking grill. Try and make it slightly less offensive. And raise that up. I want a bumper bar as well. I think a bumper bar could look quite good. So, headlights. We need some round lights. Yes. Look at this. It's a bit goofy, actually. Please don't arrest me for corruption. I know I did it, but just don't arrest me anyway. I have core 2 duos to feed. Yeah, the core 2 duo naturally a much better CPU line. I don't know why this is being funny. If I go ahead, will it somehow fix it? No. It's just being a bit goofy. Okay, there's not much I can do. Anything else? Oh yes, we need a triangle. Yes, this is going to be our badge. It's a very secretive vehicle. You can fit there. Come on, find the right position. I think it's a type of headlight I've used. I'll have to come back to that. I'm going to add another badge right now, though. And you can get larger as well. Yeah, I would say have a fuel filler cap on the back somewhere, but that just wouldn't work. The fuel would just spill into the bed. I mean, it has its uses, but not really as I would set it up. Can we get a fuel filler cap somewhere? I found bumper bars at least. Oh, yes. Let's go with this. Has it still got that? Yes, it has indeed. So there's that one or there's that one. Are they both the same? Pretty much. I don't want the middle one. I don't think it looks as good personally. There you go. Bumper bar. Just sit there. And it's quite far forwards actually. I'll admit it's a very, very goofy pickup truck. Then so would a Celeron be. It's not a particularly powerful thing, but it's got to appear quite powerful, so we're going to give it quite a good horsepower figure, but then it's going to be at complete cost of any kind of usable power. Can we... Oh. No way I can fit the number plate there. I'll just have to squeeze it under there. It's close enough, yes. I had to say that. We'll go with one of these right here. Come on. It's got two colours. It seems to have a chrome exterior. Or maybe not chrome, but we don't want that. We want it to be fully plasticky. Ugh. Oh well. It works. Fuel goes in. We need some headlights and door handles. I'm doing this in a very odd order. But hey, as long as it works. I don't know why. It's just making me act up or funnier. Just a plasticiness. There we go. Add plastics. That should do. There we go. The car's got to be just uncomfortable enough to make it inferior to the Pentium, but not so uncomfortable that you feel like you're using an old Pentium. It's about getting the balance just right here. And there we go. So we've got a random antenna sticking up. Well, it's an aerial really, but let's call it an antenna. It sounds a bit more sci-fi-y. Headlights, I found these. They're not gonna work. It needs some, I think it needs some round headlights, but I don't know. Let's go with these. These seem to work well enough. To be honest, I'm just going to stick it together now and see how it functions. Can you rest out there? Yes, you can. Doesn't seem to like me rotating. There we go. It rotated that time. It just took its time to actually get to the stage where it would let me rotate it. There we go. And yeah, I grabbed the grille, not the bumper bar. Thankfully, it does actually appear to have the correct physics on the bumper bar. You can click through it. It doesn't just click on the bumper bar itself. Now, can I have some miscellaneous fixtures? No. I want some kind of vent inputs. So, yes, these are exactly what I want, actually. I was going to put fog lights there, or... Well, I was going to put indicators. some reason indicators became fog lights in my mind, and they would have worked quite well, but they've got indicators built into the headlights. We won't have fog lights. It is a Celeron mobile, remember? We don't want it to be too fancy, and just look at how far that sticks out. Wow. This is not the kind of vehicle you really like. It's not the kind of vehicle you buy because you want one. It's the kind of vehicle you buy because you have to buy it and nothing else is cheap enough. What have we got for tail lights? And tail lights, where are you? Hiding. There we go. Ah, yes, I think I have an idea. I think I have just the idea as to what I'm doing. Where have they gone? Disappeared. Hope I've not deleted something important now. No, it's all fine. They look like old Mercedes lights, yes, but I'm using them in a way I really shouldn't be. Bring them down just a little. It looks like a larder now from the back. Come on. Fit, I say. Close enough. It fits closely enough to keep me happy. That can be made bigger. I actually have enough space now. Wow, this just looks so dreadful. It's probably one of the worst trucks you can build in automation. And I've not even built the engine yet. The engine I'm not going to pay a lot of attention to. Just, you know, make something hugely powerful. Cast iron push rod block. It doesn't sound too bad overall, but in 2004, remember, it's still a relatively modern car in the grand scheme of things. And we're going with the old cast iron block. Similar to what the actual Celeron would do, use old bits of Pentium because you're too cheap to put good bits on. You know what? I think we'll go with a hideously difficult to work on turbocharged 2-litre inline 6 with push rod and cast iron, and it doesn't really make sense. Just cheap out and so much and add that one feature. Similar to hyperthreading, add that one turbocharger feature to try and sell the car somewhat. We won't have variable valve timing. That actually costs money and we're too cheap to make a good car. Also, it's a Celeron, remember. We must keep reminding you of that. It's not anything fancy. I think that should give us the power we want, but I'm cheap, so I'll go air-to-air small. And, yeah, you only get medium if you buy the Pentium as well. You don't even get a large intercooler to keep the thing cool. What else do we have? We probably won't be running a huge amount of boost through this, I can say that now. So, we'll have mechanical fuel injection. Or no, mechanical fuel injection will be expensive, actually, won't it? So, does it say the cost? Max power. Engineering time is quite high, though. Weight is quite high. Material cost is quite high. Single point electronic fuel injection is cheap, so we're doing that. Yeah. This would perhaps be a good engine in 1981, but in this time, in 2004, it is not a good engine. We want regular fuel or low quality. No, regular. And we'll have no fancy catalytic converter for you. Have inefficient bits on it. Could we fit that? Engineering time's the same. I'll stick with that then. And that's our engine. Let's let it run. Nope. So I'm gonna just adjust the compression to get this thing to a working state, and wow, it actually makes 90-something horsepower. And I'm going to run it now and just see how it runs. And then I'm going to make my modifications to it and return. Okay, so I've worked on this hideous heap of metal that is the engine for this vehicle. not much has changed. I've fitted a larger intercooler on there because it was really not making any power. And that just helped me get a bit out of it. Nothing else has really changed. The engine dimensions as well, though. I mentioned they've changed a bit, but nothing else has really changed. You'll just see going through here. It's all the settings. VVT is like hyper-threading. It's only available on a premium model. Same with the ball bearing turbo. I've amazingly managed to get 130 horsepower out of this. How good the economy is, probably not very, but I know the Pentium 4 era CPUs were not very efficient at all. You'll see here, I don't think I can get anything more out of it, no. But still, you know, 130, that's okay. Let's hear the sound of it, though, briefly. Now the power curve, that is far better than it has any right to be, and it was terrible. It was making the power like up there, but then suddenly I messed with the turbo and it moved right back here where the turbo kicked into an actually semi-reasonable level, which I guess is disappointing when you're trying to deliberately build a terrible vehicle. Anyway, it doesn't show the engine up yet. I think it looks okay from the front, to be honest, just from the way, yeah. The less said, probably the better. Also, I don't have any exhausts. They'll have to be added sometime. It's going to be rear-wheel drive. You'd have to be in the premium Pentium mobile to get four-wheel drive. I was going to say quad-wheel drive, but that doesn't make much sense. It'll have an automatic 4-speed. Can we go with any less? No, we can't go with any less than 4 gears, okay. So no attempting to give it 3 gears, sorry. I don't know how fast it was capable of yet, as I attacked my smartphone on the side of a desk, and we'll go with an open differential. Or should we go with, no, manual locker is again premium model. Our customers don't deserve very good specs, okay, as long as it saves us a bit of money. I'll go with hard long life tyres. Now it's going to have needlessly wide 215s, I guess, which it doesn't really need. That's odd. Can't fit very wide tyres at all on the front. Do I have to flare the arches? There we go. It'll be 205s then, if it makes it that much easier. Edge out the rear arches as well. It's a sports truck. Well, not really a sports truck, but it's better than nothing, okay? If you get given one of these as a present as your first car, would you complain? Probably. You would actually probably hate your parents because of how terrible this vehicle actually is. And what's happened to my headlights? Oh dear. I can't really go back to them white now, though I'll go back in a moment. You only get steel wheels here. Should we make them smaller? Could we really make them smaller? No, they're already tiny as they are. 14 inches, they become a bit more off-roady. I think if we make these bigger, 17s, and make the tyres a bit bigger, I think that works a little better for me. Can we go with drums? Yes. You get drum brakes on the front. If this isn't going to hinder performance, I don't know what will. The 1960s Carmen Ghia rival I built in the episode just before this, that did have disc brakes on the front, and that was a 1960s affordable car, so yeah. This is not going to do well at all around the track. And leaf springs, might I mention. It's not good. Not good at all. We'll have an off-road skid tray. One of a few things we'll do sensibly in this. And we won't have any active air or anything. Cooling airflow and brake airflow. I'll turn these up just a little. Losing some top speed isn't the end of the world. We can have 2 seats, or 3 seats actually. Yeah, let's have that. I would have said cheap out and let the... I just saw that and I thought Pink Floyd. Because it looks like one of our album covers. Anyway, it's kind of sidetracking. We can go with a... Do we want... No, we want basic. It's a very basic model. Everything has to be basic. No power steering, no traction aids, no safety. Well, to be fair, we'll give him standard safety. But no traction aids. Power steering, yeah, I think we can do without it. It is terrible after all, but we'll just make it look better somehow. I don't know. Hydro pneumatic suspension. That would just be so out of place with the rest of it. Ultra basic suspension componentry. I'll go with an off-road setup since that seems to be where it's going. I don't really want off-road tyres though because I can't really think of any cars that ship with off-road tyres in the real world. So it would be a little bit of a pointless thing to do. 12.9 to 60, I believe. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Basically 0 to 60 though. I don't know why it's coming up this way. We need to adjust the lights. There we go. Just rotate these, hopefully. Should be job done. I'm not sure about this, but hey, it looks okay. If I could go with some extra lights up here, kind of to be fog lights, I guess, or would you call it daytime running lights? Which ones have we got? These are the ones I had on before, and it didn't work that well, but if I just had little tiny ones, I think they'll fit well enough. There we go. Little extra spotlights for if your main headlights fail, which is quite likely with this car, actually. It's not the highest quality vehicle in the world. The Celeron Mobile. 1484 kilograms. So, in its fairness, it is fairly light, but you get a terrible automatic transmission. I don't think this is going to be the slowest, though. I think, of all the things, it's going to be quicker than that sports car dude I built. It's got 18 miles per gallon. How is that possible? How isn't it worse than that? It should be far, far worse. And I don't want to move the gears that way, really. They reduce my already poor acceleration rating. It's 12.7, 12.4. I think I'll settle for 12.5, 0 to 60. There we go. It's slow, but it gets moving. There we go, so it appears relatively powerful on paper with 131 horsepower, but it still takes over 12 seconds to get to 60 with that little power. So I could have done better. I mean, I guess it's what you expect when a car weighs this much, but still, it's basically a diesel. It's basically a 2-litre diesel, which should have been an inline 4, but it's an inline 6 just because inefficiency reasons. And 18 miles per gallon. I've gone over that. Still, I'm going to take it around the test track and I'll return when I have done that. So, here we have the Celeron Sport, as I've decided to call it. And it has sat just below the Tortoise and Friendly Jim, the terrible Tortoise mind, by over 2 seconds slower than that. No, it doesn't fill me with confidence though. Because that was always a dreadful car, and yeah, it is so supposed to be dreadful though, to be fair. I've not actually checked the weight balance, it's 56% just looking down there, which is nowhere near as bad as it should be. It beat the Volkswagen Astro and the updated Volkswagen Astro, so it's not the slowest thing in the world. It also beat the MD Little Person, so that's the Carmen Gear rival. So, you know, it's not so bad for something that is intentionally terrible, for something that is intentionally poorly put together. I would have expected a lot worse. And is there anything else we can go through? Yeah, $10,000 for this. It's cheap at least, but hey, we're not gonna sell it for that. Hike up our profit margins. $15,200. There we go. And anything else to speak of? Yeah, the red line is 6,500 RPM, apparently. 6,900? I think that's when it cuts off the fuel, but the red line's at 6,500. Cast iron, fully cast iron, yes. Under 1,500 kilos, that is probably the most impressive thing I can say about it all in all, considering how primitive and basic the engine is, and that it's not even trying to be light. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here for today, and I'm going to say goodbye until another day.